Hello, this is Michael with the general reading for Aquarius for the month of February 2022. This is for any Aquarius placements, so sun, moon, rising, or whatever. I am really excited to see what we have in store for you. I actually already have the cards laid out on the table here, and we really are emerging into your season. And with that, you are emerging into yourself or into this new chapter. There's a lot of renewal that is happening. And the energy that we are stepping into in February really is speeding up quite a bit. January, we had a Venus, we had Mercury in retrograde. There were a lot of delays, miscommunications, feeling misunderstood, which may still be playing out over the next month as well. But we really are going full speed ahead here. There's a lot of things that could change quite rapidly over the next few months until April when Pluto goes retrograde. But even then, that's still going to bring a lot of sudden change or transformation potentially as well. So the first part of this year is really dramatic. It's really dynamic. So it's important that we really stay on our game, that we keep moving forward and keep our sight forward, especially while the planets are direct. And I do have, again, all of your cards on the table here. Before we dive into your reading, I just want to let you all know that I have all of my links in the description box down below. If you're looking for a reading or Reiki session, I also have the Astrology blog, as well as all of my social media accounts where you can follow me there as well. And as always, thank you so much for supporting this channel with your likes, shares, comments, and subscribes. It does help me continue putting out these messages for all of you. So the cards that we have on the table, the first two that I drew were actually the Four of Swords and the Four of Cups. And this is really talking about the past, coming into February, what was happening for you in January. This makes a lot of sense to me. There was a lot of reflection. There was a lot of meditation, contemplation, or looking at situations from a different perspective. Maybe seeing things that you had missed or overlooked with the Four of Cups. And this makes a lot of sense to me because we were in Capricorn season, which represents your 12th house, or Aquarius's 12th house. And this really is the house of mental health, the subconscious, spirituality, a lot of our bad habits as well. Maybe there's been some reflections and seeing the way you might actually be sabotaging yourself as well with this Four of Cups. And what you've really been learning or what you've gained from this time is the Magician. And this is interesting because with the Magician, I think of the four elements, and we do have two fours here. The Magician has all four elements present. We have the wands, the pentacles, the swords, and the cups. And maybe there are still elements that are missing, but you're trying to bring something together here. You are a very powerful manifester. That is something I feel like you need to hear. If you're watching this video at this time, you are being reminded of how powerful you really are. And to remember this spiritual sovereignty. I do feel like with the Three of Swords this month that there is some pain, and there might even be the sense of betrayal. Sometimes when Mercury goes direct, we see the things that we may have overlooked during the retrograde. Maybe there was someone who was kind of sneaking behind your back. There is sort of this energy with the Magician sometimes as well. There's this Mercurial energy, and this could represent a Virgo or Gemini in your life, potentially. Does not have to be. Someone who could be very cunning or good with their words, says the right things to get what they want. So there may be this element for you of betrayal or the sense of feeling wounded by the actions of another. And if this isn't the case for you, I almost get the sense of self-sabotage, recognizing the ways you might hurt yourself, or that's something to really contemplate or consider for this month. And we are starting off February with a new moon in your sign. There is this beautiful culmination of energy here, and it is actually conjunct Saturn, which is one of your ruling planets. Saturn is in your sign right now. It's going to be in your sign all of this year. And Saturn brings lessons, it brings restrictions. And Saturn was traditionally considered a malefic planet. It was traditionally considered a bad planet. But modern day astrologers like myself, we don't necessarily look at things in such a binary anymore. In fact, Saturn is one of the most beautiful energies, in my opinion. Saturn is a teacher. It shows us what we really want. It takes from us things that aren't true to who we are. In many ways, Saturn is the growth that we experience when we no longer identify with parts of ourselves that weren't really authentic to who we were to begin with. And a way I kind of think of this is a rock going through a rock tumbler, or a gemstone going through a stone tumbler, and really polishing off those rough edges until all that remains is this beauty, this gem. And I feel like there's something like this that's happening with you right now, Aquarius. You are becoming this gem, this beautiful, precious thing. And there might be some pain that comes along in that process. But I want you to really remember the bigger picture. Don't get lost in this moment. The Three of Swords, although it is painful, is often temporary, which is indicated by these storm clouds in the background. This pain or hardship that you are experiencing is fleeting. It's temporary. And I feel like part of this energy where you're feeling kind of lonely or hurt, it's almost like you were expecting people to catch you when you fell. Whatever this was, or whatever it is that's going on, the Six of Wands and the Three of Cups is showing up as a challenge. There could actually be something where you are physically injured or physically not well. Maybe you're sick and you're taking a longer time to recover than you thought or anticipated. I could potentially see that as well. And maybe that's why things were so slow. Maybe that's why you were kind of in this thoughtful place. It's actually quite possible that in January you were tending to some sort of illness or injury that really made you kind of slow down and see things from a different perspective. And again, also seeing things in your subconscious, because we have been in Capricorn season in January. We have had Venus retrograde in Capricorn, so specifically the way you show up in relationships, your subconscious beliefs and dynamics and patterns in relationships could really be quite prominent right now, and things that you're addressing or becoming aware of. And it feels like, yeah, you were hoping for these people to be there when you returned, or these people to catch you when you fell. And it might not feel like you have that warm welcome or that embrace of others. And the first card I drew for you for the future, I did get this Nine of Wands. And when I saw this, I was like, no, Aquarius, you're stronger than you think. Yeah, you feel really wounded. You feel drained, depleted, tired. But you're also resilient. The Nine of Wands is coming out of a challenge, maybe a little bruised or injured from that. But you've survived. You've made it through. And it feels like you can recover from these injuries or this heartache. And then when I clarified this card, I pulled the Strength card, which again just felt like confirmation to me. Yes, you are stronger than you realize. And this strength is also a gentle strength. It comes from surrender. It comes from vulnerability. And maybe some of you are expressing yourself in ways that feels quite vulnerable. And maybe that's why it's hard for you to connect to people as well. If you are feeling disconnected from people, you might not be completely open and honest with them. And we do have the full moon in your opposite sign on the 16th. And this is in Leo. This is your 7th house. This is your relationships. This is your partnerships, the people you commit yourself to or share your life with on an intimate level or a very involved way. And that's actually happening the same day that Mars and Venus will be in their closest conjunction together in Capricorn. Again, a lot of this focus in your subconscious that could potentially bring conflict. It could bring a lot of passion or energy into a relationship, actually, with those two. But for you specifically, it does kind of feel like the sense of hurt that is being addressed. You're addressing the hurt. And there is also this energy as well at the end of the month that's really interesting to me. We have Mercury in Aquarius squaring Uranus in Taurus, and Uranus is actually another ruling planet for you. You have two, which are Saturn and Uranus, and whatever they do is especially important to you. And where these planets are falling for you, there is this sense of you becoming or expressing who you are. And that might come with conflict or tension with your family or with beliefs that you internalize from early childhood about who you should be or what your life should look like. I kind of think of these sort of transits between the first and fourth house, which is what's being lit up for you with this transit. I almost think of them as like coming out of the closet, so to speak. Not saying that you're coming out of the closet to your family, but there could be this parallel where you express something about yourself that other people don't understand. The people who are supposed to be closest to you, they don't understand it just yet. And maybe this sense of resiliency is in your relationships with other people, especially if there is a Leo in your life. And it's like that conflict actually brings you closer together in the long run. Being able to be vulnerable brings you closer in the long run. It strengthens your bonds. It strengthens your relationships. And the animal card I pulled for you is actually quite perfect because I have the elephant here. And I'm noticing this gem on the third eye. And you are quite intuitive this month still with all of these placements in Capricorn, all these planets in Capricorn. There is still a lot that's being activated for you intuitively. You could be having very sudden breakthroughs or insights into things. And I see this wounded tusk as well. Again, there's this sense of feeling hurt, feeling injured. But also this very serene gentleness. And we also get that with the Strength card as well. I don't feel like you're supposed to be aggressive with people. Elephants are definitely territorial and stand their ground. But they're not predators. And this elephant in particular has the fire, the light of self-knowledge, of inner wisdom. Reminds me very much of the Hermit card, actually, with that lantern. And elephants are also very matriarchal. They are herd animals, pack animals. And there is something about the herd, and specifically maternal energy. So there could be issues with the maternal side of your family, matrilineal patterns that are emerging in you, things that have been passed down through the women in your family. That could also be something that is very thematic for you this month. And I also think of this square between Mercury and Uranus at the end of the month, this aspect that is really bringing a lot of conflict or tension between who you are and who you were told you were supposed to be. Mercury and Uranus are actually very interesting because Uranus represents the higher octave of Mercury. They both represent the mind. And I get this sense of higher self versus lower self. And there may actually be this need to integrate the two. I'm seeing that with the gem and the fire here. Lighting something up so it can rise to the level of your spiritual self. There really is the sense of you being reforged. And looking down at the clock, I saw 4:04, and I think of that 4:04 error that we get sometimes with computers when a website doesn't show up or a link doesn't work anymore. It might feel like you've made a wrong turn, but I don't think you have. You haven't lost anything. You've actually gained. You've gained a new sense of self. You've gained who you really are. You're seeing what relationships are worth fighting for. And I get kind of a mixed bag. For some of you, I feel like there could be relationships that have kind of dissolved or ended, or are in the process of doing so. However, I definitely get the sense that there are also relationships that are being strengthened through hardship. And I think of that Rumi quote, "The wound is where the light can enter you." And that feels very important for you this month. So it doesn't necessarily just feel like an easygoing month, but I feel like there's a lot of beauty. And you're going to have to be pretty mindful. You're going to have to be pretty skillful with your thoughts and perspectives to really see the blessings you are getting, the gifts you are getting, because they are here. You are ultimately becoming a stronger and more true version of yourself. And there's this element of growing pains that are kind of coming up for me too. And those are all the messages I have for you right now, Aquarius. I do hope that this was helpful. Be sure to hit like and subscribe. Let us know in the comment section down below how this resonated for you. If you'd like to check out one of the other videos, maybe there's a message there that will resonate for you as well, or maybe there just wasn't a lot of resonance in this one, check for your moon or rising sign. I actually have a calculator in the description box down below. If you don't know what I'm talking about, that should be able to help you. And I will see you all in the next video. Take care, Aquarius. Have a happy February.